Hey, I'm Kelly with Kel Sells, and today we're going to be going over real reselling, real numbers, real beginner. Here we go. All right, hey everybody, we're going to go over my eBay sales so far from January. We're not quite to the end of the month, but things are starting to stack up, so I wanted to go ahead and make a video and share some of the things that I've learned, some of the brands that are actually selling for a newbie like me. So we are going to start with eBay, and this was an exciting one today. I was thrilled to see this one pop up as sold. This was an Eileen Fisher. It was actually a small petite, so I expected it to sit for a little while, but this shirt actually sold in less than 24 hours, and I got this shirt at the bins probably for less than $2 because it's pretty lightweight. And so that sold, again, overnight essentially for a little over $32. Next, we've got this LL Bean vintage plaid shirt. I actually wore this to a family Christmas event, so I got a little wear from this. I thought it was a woman's shirt, but it's actually a man's shirt. When I put it into ChatGPT, I found out that this was actually a men's shirt, and I was definitely still learning to take pictures when I listed this item. The lighting isn't very good, but nonetheless, this sold. It had probably only been listed maybe 2 weeks. And again, I got this at a regular thrift store, probably ARC. And I think I probably paid $4 or $5 for it. And it sold for $25.50 plus shipping. All right, these next two are shirts that also sold overnight from when I very first listed them. This is another shirt that I got at the bin, so it cost me less than $2. And this is a Banana Republic men's green, and it says luxury touch. And this was a polo shirt, a really nice bright green color. And that's something I'm working on, is really trying to get the coloring in my photos to match the item. I've noticed that in some of my pictures, well, you can even see here between this picture and this picture, the colors look so different, and I'm trying to get those dialed in. But this shirt, let's see, this looks like it's almost 10 years old, 9 years old, and almost 10 years old this summer, actually. So yeah, just about 10 years old. And this actually sold overnight for my full listing price of $24. This one also sold. I listed these items. It must have sold on an offer, it looks like, that maybe Nifty had actually sent out to the buyer. But this item was super cute. I got it at the Goodwill Bins. I live in Colorado, and so I just had to grab this. I almost was going to keep it for my husband, but he is just an extra large. I'm sure this still would have worked for him. But it is a Jack and Sage button-up short sleeve shirt, and I just love that it had the cute little ski lifts and the mountains on it. And I knew that would be a great seller for anybody in the mountains. And I feel like it did go to somebody maybe in Montana. So that one sold for $21. And I got that at the Goodwill bin. So a good profit there on that. Okay, this next one sold in about a week and a half. This is one I got at, I guess it's kind of a rag shop. And the interesting thing is they had like a special boutique at the shop where you could tell that they pulled out the better items and they weren't for sale by the pound like the other items. But nonetheless, I still got this for $5. It was new with tags, extra large, Eddie Bauer. And I think that because it was new with tags, it sold quite quickly. You can see there the original retail price was $90. But so I did pay $5 for this item, and it did sell fairly quickly. So that was exciting. And it looks like it sold for $40. So that was a good return on my money. All right, next we also had that same day. This is actually a figure skating dress that I had purchased for my daughter on eBay, and it had not fit her. It was actually too big for her. So I had given it to her for Christmas. It was definitely baggy on her. So I thought, no problem, I'll just relist it. And it did take 3+ weeks to sell, but it was new with tags. And I actually was able, I put the measurements, unlike the person that I had purchased it from. I had actually probably made a few dollars on that. It looks like I sold it for $78.20, and I'm pretty sure I purchased it for $60 for my daughter. So I actually, maybe after fees, broke even, but I was happy to see that go. All right, the next one is one of my very best, very, very best sales so far. I love me some evening gowns, and I found this evening gown at the Goodwill Bins, and it was actually inside out, which I appreciated the fact whoever donated it didn't want it to be damaged, and so they put it inside out. And it had been in bins that people had already gone through, and we were actually kind of headed out the door, and I kind of saw it, and some piece of sparkles caught my attention. I'm like, what is that? That's a lot of fabric. And I was able to turn it right side out and see what was hiding underneath. And oh my gosh, it's just gorgeous. It was a little bit difficult to put on my little mannequin. I think my mannequin's probably a size 4 or 6 mannequin. And this is a much larger evening gown. It was a size 16, but it was absolutely stunning. If it were my size, I would want something to wear it for. So that sold, it looks like for $138. So that was a fantastic return on my investment for sure. All right, next, and that probably took maybe 3 weeks to sell. Okay, next up, this is something that I bought at one of those online auctions. I don't know, every once in a while, my husband and I will just start bidding on these little things. And I know they're kind of cheapy. They're like overstock from Amazon or maybe Amazon returns, but this was actually a CD player that was still brand new in the box. And I did have to do a little bit of research because I didn't want to open the box. I had to do a little bit of research to find what it was going to look like. And that's this first picture here. I was able to find that kind of stock picture. And so this sold in about a week from me listing it. And that sold for $24. I'm pretty sure I probably paid about $5 for it. So not a huge profit, but still a profit, and it sold quickly. Next, we have got something that I had listed probably back in November. So this took a little bit longer to sell. And this is from my closet. This was just something I haven't worn in years, and I'm trying to get rid of the things that I don't wear anymore. But it is a long cardigan that is leopard print, and you can see it's a cotton poly blend. You can see my nails are definitely fall theme. So I definitely took these pictures and listed this in November. So it took a little bit longer to sell, but it was nice to see it go. And that was basically no cost for me, but it did go, I think, on an offer to buyer that I through Nifty, where somebody must have liked it. Nifty sent it a special price, and so it only sold for $14.40. So not a huge profit there, but hey, I wasn't wearing it. Okay, I'm just popping in here because I'm new, and I would like to ask anybody who hops on and gets this far to pretty please subscribe, like, do the things to help the channel so that I can hopefully grow and make it worthwhile to share more of our brand new resellers journey. Thanks. Next, this is something a little bit different. This is something I bought at an estate sale in November or December. I can't remember. And there was a whole box of pens. And so I actually still have some pens to list, but I just thought, okay, I'm going to start with one. And I bought a whole box of pens for, I think, $11 or $12. And this was definitely one of the nicer pens. It's funny, my dad definitely had pens like this sitting in his office. And so this just reminded me so much of his pens that he worked with in his office. And I think this one is 12 karat gold. Another one I sold was 10 karat gold. And oh my gosh, we had to get out the magnifying glass to find that tiny little inscription in there. But this was really neat because it still had the instruction booklet and the case that it came in. So that one sold probably in a couple weeks, and it sold for $31.50. All right, here, I'm going to share this one because this didn't sell, but this was a lesson learned. I am going to share my lesson learned here. So again, this top, just like the other plaid LL Bean shirt I had, I thought it was a woman's. No, I thought this one was a men's, and it was actually a woman's. So like I had taken pictures of this on the men's mannequin, all that stuff, and then ChatGPT told me that it was, I thought it was okay. I thought it was a woman's. Look, I took pictures of it on a woman mannequin. I thought both of them were women's. I found them in the women's section at our thrift store, but they were actually men's. And I didn't figure that out until it had sold and I was getting ready to ship it. That's when I was listing the other item and it had told me it was men's. And so I was like, oh my gosh. So like I've had to retake pictures now of both of those items on men's mannequins, but I thought that they were women's. I found them in the women's part of the thrift store, but it is not, it was men's. So I messaged the lady and let her know. And even though I had pretty sure I had the sizing in here, maybe not. It looks like I didn't. I messaged the buyer and just let her know, hey, I advertised this as a woman's shirt, but it's actually a men's shirt. And I think I did give her the sizing. I gave her the measurements and asked her if she still wanted me to send it or if she wanted me to cancel. So she decided that it might be too big. And so we decided to cancel it. So this was one of my first lessons learned. So this is actually not a sold, and we were able to easily cancel it on eBay, which was nice. And the buyer got her money back. So then I have relisted this now with it on a men's mannequin. And my last January item, maybe I'll do another video of December's because we had some fun sales in December too, was one of the other pens. So this one was 10 karat gold, and it also had the little booklet with it. Let me see the pictures here. This also had the case that was still really nice and the little instruction booklet. And I had to, again, look with a magnifying glass to see that this one was only 10 karat gold, but it still wrote really well. And it was interesting that these pens actually came with a guarantee. So I'm wondering if they're still in business, if you could still get like refills and all that from these pen companies. So I did share some of the pictures of that. So that sold for, it looks like on an offer to a liker for $26.96. So that's all so far for January. Definitely have some lessons learned. And I will also do a video on what has sold this month over on Poshmark. I am shocked that based on my analytics, I'm actually having better luck on Poshmark than I am on eBay, which is really surprising because I'm thinking that eBay has a lot more viewers, and I'm also catering my title and my description for most of these products to what they suggest for eBay. And because I use Nifty, I just have it post the same thing on all of them. So I know I could go back through, and maybe I will on the products that haven't sold that well. I might go back through and change the titles up for Depop and Merkai and Poshmark to be a little bit more fitting for those. But for now, I'm posting as if it's only going on eBay, and it's cross-listing to all of those things. And so I'm surprised I've had so many Poshmark sales. So until next time, bye. Hey, I'm Kelly from Kel Sells, and today we are reselling real numbers.